Понял, под моим управлением. Наблюдаю у вас 292.
Hello guys, once again, it's Matt. Happy Saturday, and I hope you guys are having a great weekend. Make sure to subscribe and let's get into it. Today we are going to make the part 2 of the video of the MiG-21. So I'm making a series on all the MiG-21s. As you're seeing on the screen, you can check it out, the first part that I covered. The first generation, basically the F-13, and a little bit of the second generation. Now we are going to end the second generation and start the third generation, basically. And the third video will be the last 3 MiG-21s, because we have a lot of MiG-21s in this game. And of course the J7s I will be talking in the like a part 4 of the video, but I will talk on a specific video about the J7s. So yeah, let's get into it. So here we see the MiG21SPS-K. So basically we have the MiG21 PFM right now for the German tech tree, basically. As a premium, as a pack vehicle. I got it in the last patch, groundbreaking. So yeah, it's pretty amazing aircraft, pretty good aircraft. The stats are the same as the PFM basically, but we have some more loadouts to play with. So we have, I made a video specific on this aircraft, so if you like to see that, make sure to see it as well here. But yeah, we have more loadouts. Basically it's just the same PFM, but with new loadouts in game. So the history behind this aircraft is just that the PFM was sold for many countries, and one of them was Germany, East Germany, and they basically had the MiG-21PF from 1961 in service there, but the PF was modernized inside Germany, and they basically renamed it inside Germany. They renamed the PF as PFM. So they had a MiG-21's PF and MiG-21's PFMs, but the PFMs of Germany were not actual PFMs made in the Soviet Union. So when they bought it, the normal PFM from the Soviets, they actually renamed it SPS, which basically means Stuv Pro Pogranichnovo Zloya. Basically boundary layer blowing. So of course the PF didn't have this system, but it's the system that takes a compressor air from the compressors of the engine and bleed the air to the top of the flap, making the speed to land a lot lower than the normal PFs that they had. So the PFM was the first one, as I said in the other video, was the first one that used this system. So yeah, basically they renamed it because of that. So basically means boundary layer system, and K basically means cannon. So it was basically a MiG-21 PFM with the cannon. So yeah, as you know by the PFM video and the other SPS video, the MiG-21 PF, the second generation, the PF and PFM basically didn't have an internal cannon. It has only an external pod that can carry 200 rounds with a GSH-23L cannon, twin-barreled, 23 millimeter. So it's the same cannon as the normal MiGs, the MiG-21 and the MiG-21 BIS and the MF and the SMT, but it's not internally mounted on the fuselage. Is actually mounted on a pod, and they basically bought it the SPS and the SPS-K. The SPS were basically just normal interceptors without the cannon, just missiles and stuff, and the K was the ones that got the cannon basically. So yeah, but the cannon was removable. As we see in game, we have the MiG-21 SPS-K, so it was the version that received the cannon. but you can actually remove the cannon in this in-game option using the SPS-141 ECM pod. As for now, it's not an actual ECM pod, but it is a flare pod. A lot of MiGs use this now, but yeah, basically you have to choose between having a cannon and having flares and chaff, which is a pretty fun way to make it interesting in gameplay wise. But yeah, basically as you see is the same fuselage as the PFM. They have filled with fuel fin of the aircraft. So yeah, basically it was just the same as the PFM, but bought it from Germany. But yeah. So basically, it's just a PFM with better loadouts. So it got the R60s, the R13Ms, and of course the R3Rs and R3Ss. To take a better look at them, the loadouts, take a look at my video that I talked about it before. I did a review on the SPS itself. It's a lot lighter than the other MiGs, so the dogfights with this aircraft is pretty amazing. The engine is not that strong, but it's still very good. It has the Tumansky R11 F2S300, which is the same engine as the PFM, because it is the PFM, of course. The radar is the Sapphire 21, as I said, it's the same radar as always as all MiG-21's, even though in real life it had a different variant from the BIS, for example, but in game they all have the same radar basically, with IFF and acquire mode, of course. Yeah, basically this is it for the aircraft itself. On how to use it, I normally use it as a interceptor if you want to, with the flares and chaff with the R3Rs and low fuel, so 20 minutes, and just try to engage as fast as possible the attackers of the enemy team, because it's 10.0, so you're going to face a lot of attackers like Harriers and stuff, so they are normally flying high, so you need to climb a lot and be fast climbing, but you cannot use it as an interceptor. Or the more normal way to use it is using the cannon and the R60s and just full tank and go for the dogfights. You're going to be able to win dogfights with basically anyone in this BR, but you have to look out for the energy loss of this aircraft because it's kind of heavy. But yeah, pretty cool aircraft, pretty amazing aircraft. I love this aircraft, that's why I bought it. It has 3 amazing skins. And of course, beginning with the 3rd generation of MiG-21's, let's begin with them. They started being produced in 1968. They were the last generation of the MiG-21's and the most known generation ever, especially because of the enlarged fin behind the pilot. It's the main thing that differentiate MiG-21 from any other generation to the 3rd generation. So yeah, if you want to, I mean, there were some 3rd generations that had that, but mainly the most produced ones were on the 3rd generation, so it's one of the giveaways. So we started with the MiG-21M, which is an export variant of the S that we don't have in game, and it ended with the MiG-21bis. Some of the main variants were the SM and the MF in the middle, together with the SMT, the MT, the ST, and the BIS. Of course, in game we have the MF, the SMT, and the BIS for both Germany and the Soviet Union. So we are going to talk about this video of the MF, and the next video, the 3rd part, we're going to talk about the SMT and the both BIS's aircraft. So basically the MF was an export variant of the SM, which has the RP-22 radar. In the game we have all the same radar as I said before, but it is the RP-22, the Sapphire 21 radar, and the R13 300 turbojet engine, and the ability to carry R60s. I mean, these were the main features of the MiG-21MF. Basically, it was just in real life, it was kind of a toned down version of the SM for export purposes. As I said, the engine is the R13, is the first that has this engine. The thrust that the engine can achieve at 1,200 kilometers per hour can reach almost 70 kilonewtons, so it's a lot more stronger than any other MiG that we saw until now. So yeah, it's a pretty strong engine, and the weight kinda remains the same. It's like 400 kilos more empty weight, so it's not that much, you know. It has a little bit more fuel. That's the fin on the back of the pilot. It has more fuel than the SPS and the other ones because of the more consuming engine. And it has 4 pylons instead of 2 on the wings. So the ability to carry 4 missiles is just a standard for any third generation jet, okay? For the MiG-21. Third generation MiG-21, I mean. Of course, now we don't have the gun pod. We actually have the same gun, the GSH-23, but inside the fuselage with the ammo belt on top of it. It's pretty good because you can actually take the ECM pod or any kind of flare pod or some kind of ECM pod underneath the aircraft together with the gun. So yeah, basically a lot more useful in RRB. Okay, so yeah, the armament is the same. So we have the R60s. The German, of course, Germany has only the R3R, R3Ss, and the R60s that we all know. Together with some bombs, 250 kilos, some S-24s, and some S-5s, and some mixed loadouts to air to ground and air to air in the same ones. But yeah, of course, normally in RRB you take the 4 R60s, which are pretty reliable missiles. I mean, flares are kind of OP right now, but the R60s are pretty good still. So yeah, and of course the main difference between, of course, the SPS already has this pod, but the main difference from normally the third generation like the second generation like the PFM and the first generation like the F-13, it now has flares and chaff, of course, to the same as the SPS. It has the SPS 141 ECM pod. It doesn't have the ECM pod, as I always say, but it works like a flare and chaff pod, so you can take 64 chaffs and flares as well. Okay, basically this is the normal things about this aircraft. Here you can see the thrust to weight of the aircraft and some limits that I put it. I mean, it's a lot faster than the MF, the SPS. A lot faster, I mean, acceleration because of the thrust to weight. But the max speed and stuff is basically the same because of the airframe. So it's basically the same airframe, so the max speed is the same. 2,240 TAS and 1,365 kilometers per hour IAS, indicated airspeed. Okay, so more of the systems that we have. Of course, all the MiG-21s had air brakes and drogue chutes, of course. And yeah, basically this is it for the normal stuff. And I mean, it has a lot of skins. It has literally 5 skins. So it has the normal GDR one, as you see. It has a Polish one, pretty cool. It has another Polish one with this big fish, Poznan. I don't know what's called. We have the MiG-21 from Bulgaria, I think, which is Capeti, called Capeti. It's all orange, pretty cool camo as well. And the last one from Slovakia, pretty cool one. If I would buy one, I would buy this one. I just don't buy it because they are kind of expensive on the market. They are always kind of expensive. I don't know why, but yeah. But yeah, this is it. And for the usage in battles, I mean, it's the same tactics as always, but now we have more power, more missiles, better missiles, and flares and chaff. So use this type of stuff. With the flares and chaff, you can actually use it in high altitudes, as you were supposed to do. But you have to be careful with the BR. If you face top tier, you probably will be destroyed by BVR missiles, the same as the SPS, so be careful with that, but it is doable. And I mean, the pulse Doppler doesn't care about chaff, but still a very good way to fly the aircraft because it climbs a lot. A lot of people don't like it because it's kind of slow and lacks power, but it only lacks power compared to the BIS and the SMT because it's a lot faster than the normal MiG-21s that we have already covered. So yeah, but the tactic that I always use and I always advise you to use in all MiG-21s is the same tactic of flying low and trying to intercept people by surprise, okay? So it's a different tactic from the F4s, for example, or the MiG-23, which I would advise you to climb. At this one, you need to, I would advise you to fly low, okay? But it works also flying high. But yeah, this was it, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Please subscribe. It always helps a lot. And I see you guys on the next one. Make sure to subscribe to check all the videos that I have, and make sure to keep an eye out for the part 3 and the last part of the MiG-21 reviews that I'm making. We're going to cover the SMT and the last BIS, the German BIS and the Russian BIS. Okay, so I see you guys in the next one, and bye.